Hey, we're talking about Andrew Luck, Colts quarterback Andrew Luck retiring, and the reaction that he got there from some of the fans booing him. And there were some strong boos. And I was talking about, my own experience as an athlete, knowing some professional players and stuff. And it was, had this broken last week, we could have talked to Ivano Newbill, formerly of the NBA, of what's happened there. And I know that Ivano and I talked offline at another, forum about just, what happens with ex-players and some things that you have to deal with and all that. And it's not, there's a lot more than the money and the cheering and the games and stuff like that. There's so much that goes into the preparation and the physical strain.
For a second, don't break until I come back.
That, you have to deal with. So anyway, if you want to join me to talk about this, 786-633-5927, 786-633-5927. So much that goes into this. And I was talking about my last national championship, and that was in Sacramento, California. And I did great. I won, and I got best lifter. I mean, I took away some really nice hardware that day, and it was a great sort of final note to my powerlifting career, if you will, that spanned decades, right? And it was really, really cool because I was able to win in, many of the top federations in different locations over different time periods, and I definitely, established myself as, I believe, in my opinion, as an excellent champion, no doubt about it. And I did it all while I was doing everything else, right? Going to school and doing professional work and et cetera, et cetera. And I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to turn this into a focus on me, but I'm using my own personal experience as an example of maybe some of what Andrew Luck had to go through. And having been close, with some of these professional athletes, and seeing all the different cities and flying out to this city and staying in the hotel and people waiting for you in the hotel with the autographs, and we go to dinner and there's more autographs, and then trying to get to the gym, and then you don't feel so great because you've been flying around and you played a game and you're injured, whatever. I mean, the strain is tremendous. And you don't know what it's like until you're there. Well, John, that's what they signed up for and they were getting paid. Okay, cool. But guess what? He just unsigned himself from that. And you don't have the right as a fan to boo him for that. That's my opinion. You don't.
Lost his love for the game.
You don't, right? Okay? The dude lost the love of the game. And that can happen to anyone. It can happen to you. What if one day you don't want to go to work? What if one day you're like, I'm tired of the way my boss treats me. I'm tired. I don't want to work with these coworkers. I don't want to work in these conditions. I mean, it's funny because it's not funny, actually. It's not funny. I grew up as a kid in Western Pennsylvania, and actually went to school for a short period of time in Wheeling, West Virginia. And that is coal country. I knew people that worked in the coal mines. And it's funny because, you had around there, you had farmers, coal workers, steel workers. I mean, people that had some tough jobs. And, you were putting, in my opinion, you could be exposed to some risk in some of those, fields, particularly coal work, right? In my opinion. And it's a decision. It's a decision. We'd hear stories about, canaries in the coal mines and black lung and all this type of stuff. And I can remember different families, and I remember, people that I went to, school with and stuff like that. And you were exposing yourself. But guess what? People had to put food on the table. But if someone said to me, John, you know what? I can't do it anymore. John, you know what? I don't feel like this is right for my health. Would I blame them? Would I boo them? Why? So you can have another poster up on your wall? So you can wear this dude's jersey and feel like you're a tough dude? So you can feel pride in your city because Andrew Luck put his physical health on the line just so you can you have fun when you're talking to the water cooler. Listen, I get it. We all like sports. But that's a man's life. And he has to live with that. You ever, if you're a super fan, you ever go to these autograph sessions? I've been to these autograph sessions, right? And it's fine when you're playing and you're in great shape and everything like that. But what about when you go to some of the legends or the Hall of Fame stuff, and then you have people in unfortunately, that are in bad health, but they're signing autographs. You don't have to live with that. They do. You're not the one that can't run with their daughter or their son because they played 1, 2, 3, 4 too many seasons too long. And maybe Andrew Luck, maybe, you know what, he gets a couple years out and he feels better and he's like, okay, you know what, I still have love for the game. I can still come back. We've seen that happen before, right? I mean, Brett Favre played for many teams and different stuff like that. There's other people. But guess what? If I'm Andrew Luck, there's no way I go back to Indianapolis after that reaction. There's no way. You couldn't pay me enough money to go back to Indianapolis after that reaction. That's a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face for someone that led that team to playoff after playoff after playoff. And I think if I read this right, the only time they didn't make the playoffs is when he was injured. But you're going to boo him. You're going to boo him because he's not willing to sacrifice himself for your happiness. Well, guess what? It's his life. If you're so great, you get out there and throw for the Colts. You have to have perspective. You have to have perspective. So going back to with this person asking me, John, was all these championships worth it? It's an unanswerable question. And I actually applaud some of these athletes now that are starting to just take a pause and think, you know what? There's more to life than this. And thank goodness for myself, I had that kind of foresight because I knew I wanted to do so many other things in life. Being an athlete wasn't the end-all be-all for me. That was what was nice about powerlifting is I could do that and still live a normal life. I had to make a decision when I was a young athlete. I was so good at wrestling too. I believe my last, granted I was high school, but I would wrestle up a lot, and I still would, meaning that would be up a weight class or two. So huge disadvantage. There's weight classes for a reason. I still was really successful. I think I only got it pinned officially once in my life, and that I didn't even agree with because the referee, in my opinion, was on the other side. I couldn't see my shoulders. I didn't think I was pinned, but whatever. I'll deal with it. And then what was I doing? I was wrestling up. Okay, so and it was one of those things. But I had the most pins on the team. I was undefeated my last year. I shut out a dude that took, third in state. And this is California. So I'm not talking about some state that doesn't have a lot of people or a lot of wrestlers. I'm talking about a serious state. I mean, I was on fire. I wrestled some with USA Wrestling. One of my coaches, was going out for the Olympic trials for a 220-pound weight class. So we would have the Iranian team come through and the USA team come through, and I wrestled with the former Bulgarian national champion and blah, 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 blah. So I was really good at a young age, and I was someone that kind of matured later, right? And so, but I had to make a decision. Do I pursue, wrestling and go all in on that? And that was before Kurt Angle, and you went to the Olympics, and then you made a bunch of money in the WWE, whatever like that. I mean, there was no money. There was no money in powerlifting. There's no money in regular wrestling either, right? And so, but the difference is that Berkeley had just. I went to undergrad and law school at Berkeley. Berkeley had just lost their somewhat recently had lost their wrestling program. I should have probably, if I would have stayed, that's a longer story basically. There was a little bit of, my coach and I had a little bit of a falling out, and I left the team. And that was another perfect example, actually, on the Andrew Luck thing. In my opinion, I felt like I wasn't getting the respect, and I was getting static from the team for no good reason, in my opinion. I don't want to get into that story. I'm happy to get into it another day. I don't want to get distracted with that. But 30 seconds, okay. But the thing is that We're gonna talk about this on the other end of the break. As you can see, I am passionate about this. There's so much to talk. There's so much to talk about on this subject. You can call me at 786-633-5927. We're gonna keep talking about this. I have other topics we'll talk about the next hour. I promise that. But we're gonna keep talking about this next segment. You're listening to John D. Villarreal Radio Show on 1210 AM Miami. The Man, the only station where you are the man.